Hello and welcome to my channel. Today we're focusing on importing website data into Excel and working with queries and manipulating imported data for analysis. What does all this mean? Um, Let me begin. We'll go back to Excel, to my wonderful spreadsheet that I've created. And to you, it just looks like a bunch of gibberish, but what this represents is the collective over the last year of what I've come up with in order to track my portfolio. I currently have a hedged defensive long and short portfolio, and this pretty much depicts the whole thing. Now, what you see here is a bunch of charts. This happens to be the yield curve. This happens to be the exchange between the US and the Canadian dollar. This is the gold. This is the silver price, copper, oil. I'm tracking the commodities, but then you also have the ratio between two stocks or two equities, whichever, or options. And what you see over here is a position on the US dollar, which is appreciating, and a short on Warby Parker, and then a bunch of data displayed over here. So you're looking at it and it's just like, overwhelming. Like, I mean, how does he put it all together, right? So what if you wanted to put together something like this, and not necessarily to do with trading like I do, which helps me a lot. It lets me see what is actually happening and where my positions are standing, what the outlook for the future is, which I can see from the yield. This actually speaks a lot, and I'm pretty happy with the design of this. Right now, we're flattening large, so we're into defensives. On a steepening, we'd be into cyclicals. But never mind that. Like, how do you harness data from websites and come up with something like this? So we will go through step by step how to get this done. Um, and for that, I will need to open a brand new sheet. There's nothing here, and we're gonna go from this to that very quickly once we learn how to do this one simple, very useful trick in Excel, which allows you to import data from external websites. And it's just very exciting because you can do so much with this. So let's click in the A1 box over here. And first of all, we're going to find a website that we're going to import some data from. We're going to just bring that over here. For that, we will use Yahoo Finance. And I don't know, let's think about Tesla. We're going to look up Tesla. Their charts come up, their information comes up, the statistics, the historical data, the options contracts, everything is here. What we want to click on, or for what I would like to import, first of all, is the historical data, the actual data on the price going back. I believe the website automatically publishes about 4 months, so that will be the data that I'll be importing. I won't be going past that. You can download all of the history by clicking on download and then importing it all manually. But what I'm trying to focus on showing you here, you see, like if I open that file, Tesla CSV, this will give me the prices for the last, I don't know how many years here. It will go back to March 11th. It actually doesn't give me much. It is 4 months. Anyway, so that same data can be had right off the website automatically. And that's what this is. Oop, I don't want to do that. Where is that? There we go. What we want is we want historical prices. Okay, so let's start again. You're gonna survive when you're looking up Tesla. First of all, you're gonna come up to the summary page. We're gonna go over to history data, and we're gonna copy the link up here. Okay, so this is where we're actually getting to doing the work itself. You're going to copy that link and you're going to go back to the Excel sheet and click on that A1. You're going to go to data, and then we're going to open something called a query. And this is where exciting stuff starts happening, because from here you can start manipulating what comes in. So you're going to go to new query. You'll click on from other sources, and then we'll click from web. and that's going to bring you to a window with a link section, and you're going to fill in the link with the data that you just got from Yahoo Finance, which was the history page for Tesla. We're going to click OK, and the next window is going to come up on a different one of my screens. I'll try to drag it over. Hopefully it doesn't show up somewhere else. Hopefully it shows up on this screen here, but it can happen anywhere. I have 4 screens going on here. Okay. And what you see over here is a list of all the tables on the Yahoo Finance website. Tables are tables of data which you can extract into your Excel, and you can use them to do whatever you like with. And it gets really cool because all this stuff is automated. As I said, all you have to do is click a button, and all this work starts automating itself for you. So you got to do it once, and then you click a button, and it will repeat the same process for you gazillion times, like whatever you want. So what I'm interested is these tables. And the first table, you'll see like there's some sort of a small table here, and there's not much information, but you go to the second one, and the most important was that price data. And so there it is. And this price data looks fairly clean. Now, if you had seen price data which has dividends in it, like every few months they'll have dividends paying out. If you have data like that, it's going to start throwing errors back at you. And so in order to avoid having errors on your display of whatever data you import, you actually have to go through transform data. And this is where we're getting into manipulation of the data that comes in that I spoke about. You click on transform data, and that brought me to that different window that I spoke about earlier. So I'm going to drag this over so you can see where I'm at. I'm going to maximize it. And over here, this is the exciting page. You can choose to remove specific things. You can filter by contents. You can merge things. You can group by, split the columns. And what this does is that every time Excel receives this data as you automatically import it with click of a button, it will go through the whole process of the different things they'd like to do. And so what I do to all my queries of price data that I import is I remove some rows and I remove duplicates, because when there is dividends, they happen to the same day as the date price data comes in. And let's say it happened on March 14th, there will be a second line for March 14th with an error in it, which was the dividend. And you don't want that data imported. So I would go to remove rows and remove the duplicates. Now let's abandon Tesla for a moment, because I think this is not showing you what's going on here too well. Let's look at something that actually has dividends in it. So let's look at some stocks. I don't know, let's look at CMG. Do they have dividends? Chipotle Mexican Grill. I don't know, it doesn't seem like they have dividends, does it? I don't know. Meta, Facebook. I should pay more attention to dividends, I suppose. Let's find one with dividends in it. Oh, nothing. I don't know. Marvel. Ah, there it is. You see, we have a dividend right there. And so what happens is, do you have a repeat date, a January 6th and a January 6th? And if I import that data as it is into my Excel spreadsheet, what's going to happen is that this is going to come back as an error. All right, so what we're doing back there, and this is Marvel, so MRVL, we will actually use this as our example. I should go back to the summary. Okay, reset it all, go back to historical data. We're going to copy this link here. Once again, much the same process. I'm going to minimize the browser. I'm going to come back to our A1 in our brand new spreadsheet. Go to data, new query from other sources, and then from web. And now you should start remembering what it is exactly that I'm doing. And so for every single query that you're going to generate, every single table you're going to import, you are going to go back the same way I just did. You're going to go back to this video. Don't forget to subscribe. Watch this again. And this will make things easier and easier. And as I go along throughout the next few weeks, I will throw together more of these videos of exactly what do I do in order to create these spreadsheets and analyzing my portfolio. Because when you look at, like for me in trading, I like to organize my portfolio of stocks in a way I want to look at them, not the way the broker shows them to me. And so the broker shows them to you, okay, this one's making some money, that one's losing some money, but which ones are actually on their way up and which ones are losing the profits that are already there? I have no idea. I would have to go back to the chart and then look at all of them separately. Whereas this, it shows me everything in one single file, and I can quickly go through my entire portfolio and see what's working and what's not. So that's the advantage for me of using this import data. And you could use this for whatever you want. I mean, you could, there's all the websites out there have these data tables, and you can retrieve them and use them to your like and change them to your liking. And it just makes your life a lot easier because it automates things. But anyway, let's import that data, and that's the Marvel Technologies. We're gonna click OK, and that data is gonna get populated in A1. That's where you're clicking it. That's where it's gonna start populating this way. And once again, you're gonna choose table 0, and this time I have a dividend-paying stock for you to look at. So we're gonna scroll down and see there's that dividend we looked at. So every time I get this data, import table 0, the very first thing I do is that I transform all of it. Every single time I import, I want to transform it, just in case there is that dividend and maybe it's not showing up in that price data. But what I do as a habit is I remove any duplicates, because a duplicate, once again, shows up as an error later on. These are not numbers. There's a number, yes, but there's also text in here. So Excel will not recognize that. But you'll notice that the dates here, January 6th, it's a repeat. And this will happen throughout the year every time they pay out the dividends. So what you do is you go to remove rows and you remove the duplicates, which is the January 6th. There's 2 of them. You remove the duplicate and look what happens. Boom, it's gone. And that goes to the applied steps section. If I wanted to undo that, I just remove this here and that dividend will come back. It's still there. But if I go back to remove the duplicates, it's gone. And so then I go to close and load to, and this is important because you don't want to just close and load, because close and load, it will throw your data at a brand new spreadsheet in Excel. Meaning the one that I click the A1 on would not be the one where the data ends up, and you just simply get a brand new spreadsheet. And if you want that data to be populated exactly where you want, you actually have to close and load to. And that gives you the option of loading into A1, as you'll see here. So the next window that pops up is load to, and you want to import the table. If you only create the connection, it's going to connect with the website, but it's not going to give you any data. There's just going to be a connection. So that doesn't help us much. We want to import the table. We want to select where this data should be loaded. If you had just clicked load, it would open up a new worksheet. But if you click load into, save and load to, you would go into an existing worksheet, which is already open, this one right here. So you click on that. It will import into A1, which is already selected. That's why that's in here. And then you're going to add this data to the data model. So you're going to click on that as well. And that makes sure that everything gets imported into our spreadsheet, and it pops with information. And look at what happens. Like 2 seconds later, or a few seconds later, this thing will populate. And mind you, I've done this once. This is the last time I'm going to have to do this. Okay? So it's still importing as long as it's a big file. There's 98 rows to be loaded. And it's just all being fed through and analyzed and deciphered whichever way you want it to. In my case, I wanted to remove the duplicates. The duplicate is gone. And now what do I do with this information? Well, I have a bunch of data here, and there's a date, there's an open, high, low, close, adjusted close. I'd like to create a nice chart of what's going on with this price data. First of all, you'll notice that the freshest data is right up top and the oldest data is near the bottom. I don't necessarily want to see it this way because that would show my chart backwards. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort this from from oldest to newest. I actually want the new data on the bottom. Let's sort it from oldest to newest because I don't want my chart to turn out backwards. And one more issue with data that you're seeing here. When it comes in, it screws up with the formatting. So if I'm interested in this adjusted close and the data just came in and it's looking great, it looks like you can manipulate it already to your liking or do whatever with what you want. If I went to select this data, which is the adjusted close, you can choose any data you want, but for me it's the prices of the stock itself. And so if I choose that, and then I go to insert a chart, recommended chart, there's not going to be any recommendations. The reason for that is that when I import the data from a website, it comes in convoluted, and that number that you're seeing here is not actually a number. It becomes like, I don't know, it's just the general thing. And so the Excel doesn't know how to read that. And so in order to prevent that from happening, you actually have to copy it into a brand new location in the Excel. And this is the trick. This is where people struggle with this stuff. But what I do is I want to copy this entire column just in a separate column here. So let's call this columns values because that's what we're interested in over here. And this is why Excel will not populate because it's thrown together with other data behind there. So in order to make that happen, I have to go to equals, and then I'll go to value, and I believe value, click on there, and then voila. So equals, value, open brackets, click on whatever you want to import, close brackets, okay? Now that gives you a beautiful data for Excel to read and create spreadsheets from. So now I want to do the rest of this. So what I'll do is I'll click on that. I'll click on this little square right here in the corner and I'll drag that down right to the end of the data. And Excel would automatically populate every single one of these and import this number and change the formatting of it so that Excel can read it. And if you don't believe me, I'm also going to do the date. Okay, I'm going to go equal, value, open brackets, click on this, close the bracket, and then I'm going to format it as a date. Just in case this here is not formatted as a date, I'm importing my own date. I'm going to create my own date, which is cleaner than that. I don't want to manipulate this data here. I want to manipulate my data that I derive from here. The moment you start manipulating the imported data, it starts messing things up on you. So we want to do our manipulation separately. And so I'm going to format this number because it came back as a 44,400. What is that? It's not a date. You right click, you go to format cells, and you make sure that you select date over here. And now it's going to come back much the same as the other date. And then once again, click that little square in the bottom right corner and populate down just by dragging. There are shortcuts for that, but we're not going to get into that. And now if you look at it, you have beautiful copied data. You have this row and this row, but the formatting is not changed by the import. It's not being affected by that. You're deriving it from here, but your formatting stays the same. So now what I would like to do is I'd like to create a chart based on this data here. Okay, so I've selected the data. I'm going to go to insert. I will go to recommended charts. And voila, all of a sudden, instead of getting errors and no recommended charts, I'm actually getting recommendations. I can go to all charts and just look at different ways. Like obviously I'm looking at price, so I want to import this one here. And there's my chart. Okay, with the dates on the bottom, with the levels. Now I can manipulate the chart any way I like. I can put these, format the axes, go to labels, put them high, and the labels will actually end up on the right side of the page now, which makes me read them a little bit easier. And that's just how you import data from a website. Now, in order to update all of this right now, all I have to do is go to data and go refresh all. And it will start it will start changing all of this for me automatically. Now, I have a bunch of data which I'm uploading at this point in time because it's going to be uploading this entire spreadsheet here. I don't want to wait for that, so I'm just going to fast forward. Don't forget to subscribe. There's more great content coming. I hope you've learned something today, and it's just going to get more and more exciting. If you're into investing, follow my channel. I'm just getting started here. There's not that many followers, but they will grow. I know that. The more information I'll share with you, the more people will come, and you should be happy that you're one of the first because you get a personalized experience. Ask me questions. Talk to you soon.